All right. To kick things off, is there any public comment on items not on today's agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll roll into our action items. The first two, as Annie mentioned, will be postponed for now. Our next one is an agreement between Missoula County and Ask Me Juvenile Detention Unit. Is Karen here? I don't see her on the list. Chris.
So, commissioners, I can cover this since I was part of the negotiating team for this. So this is a successor agreement to our agreement with the juvenile detention staff covering the next 2 years. Highlight a couple of changes for you in this. This brings this into alignment with the adult detention center unit as far as percentages for each of the categories of detention officers that we have on the juvenile and adult side, which is beneficial from an administrative standpoint. On that, also, this recognizes some of the special duty assignments that both adult and juvenile detention officers take, and you'll see that you saw that earlier in the adult unit that you've already signed, such as the background investigators for hiring, as well as the special response team that's out at the detention center. So overall, those are the big changes to this. This also brings the contract up into line with current state law. Again, as just a reminder, there was what was called the AFSCME versus Janus decision, which makes union membership and the payment of a representation fee in place of union membership voluntary. And so that brings that section of the contract into alignment as well.
Thanks, Chris. Any questions, Juanita?
No. I motion that the board approve the lease agreement with Wickman. Am I on the right?
Oh. Nope.
Mutual aid agreement. Mutual aid agreement.
No, we're talking number 3. Item number 3 is the
sorry.
unit.
Approve the agreement between Missoula County and Ask Me. Thank you.
Okay.
Eventually I'll get there.
Okay. Any further discussion or public comment on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
And
Thank
Chris,
you,
thank you, Chris. Talk to us about Tischler-Bice.
You bet. So Tischler-Bice is the company that's doing our impact fee study here in Missoula County and working with the Impact Fee Advisory Committee. They have completed the first step of that, which is the kind of demographic data related to that. During that, those conversations, they had a lengthy conversation with our folks in Parks, Trails, and Open Lands under Community and Planning Services. And one of the things that the folks, the Tischler-Bice realized is that including a potential park impact fee might be appropriate for the commission's consideration and the impact fee advisory group to consider when the time came for that. So this is a request to amend the professional services agreement to include a review of the potential of an impact fee for park development in the future. And again, just as a reminder, impact fees can only be used for future growth. They aren't used for sustaining existing programs, but as we look at some of the new subdevelopments that are going in across the county, growth in places like Lolo and Sealy and Bonner, Frenchtown, there is the potential for the need to plan for more community park space, and this would help to fund some of those improvements in the future.
Thanks,
when do we
Chris.
get an update on the impact fee study group?
Yeah, so we are in what I'm going to call the long, slow slog phase, and this is where Tischler-Bice is gathering all the information. So there hasn't been a lot of data produced yet. Some of that data should be coming to us here in the next month or so. The plan is to have a good amount of that data done by January. So right now they're going through the capital improvement plans for departments and those kinds of things, trying to get that all together. So I hope that we'll have one kind of in the late winter for the commission. And also we should be having an impact fee advisory board meeting here where they'll start to get to see some of that data, hopefully in either early December, because late December is the holidays, or early January, right after the holidays. So.
Right, looking forward to it. Thanks. I motion that the board approve the professional service agreement amendment with Tischler-Bice.
I'll second that. Further discussion or public comment on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Casey Gannon, you have a PSA with DJNA.
Yeah, morning, commissioners. This is just our standard PSA with DJNA to determine the actual floodplain elevation for the authorized camping site down on Clark Fork Lane. We have about 3/4 of an acre that's outside the floodplain that we're planning on using to start, and we're hoping that we can determine that more of the site is out of the floodplain, so we can put fencing in the area and expand that camping area. So what this does is they'll survey the site, determine the actual elevation of it, and then if it is deemed outside the floodplain, they'll submit to FEMA to have the maps changed, so then we can expand that camping site.
Sounds good.
Great. When do you hear back?
So they said they should be able to get out pretty much right away once this is completed, and then a few weeks turnaround time, and then we'll know. Then they'll be able to submit it to FEMA, but then it's about 60 days waiting for FEMA response in terms of the map changing. So, but that won't hold back us opening up, because we're going to be operating outside of the floodplain to start, and this would just be to expand it further down the road. So.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. I motion that the board approve a professional service agreement with DJNA to determine the floodplain elevations.
I'll second that. Further discussion or public comment on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Commissioner.
Christy. Keep up the good work. Nancy Rattel, we've got a couple items from you.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. So item number 6 has to do with requesting that the board sign the contract with Salvation Army from the Community Assistance Fund to support, this is the winter rental assistance program. I know there's some confusion, but this is to help with those who are already housed and to keep them housed. So this is the rental assistance program that is, this is that program where there's 3 agencies that get together on a weekly basis, HRC, Salvation Army, and MHA, to do some case management to utilize the funds to the best use possible. So this is the contract through the Community Assistance Fund for that program in the amount of $47,250.
And why don't you just go ahead and describe number 7 too?
Okay, so number 7, same thing, Community Assistance Fund with the Salvation Army. This is the emergency transportation program. This is where folks who really kind of need some help to move on to a better life, actually, to support bus tickets or filling up a tank of gas to then move on. Salvation Army, they make sure they phone call, somebody comes in and says, could you help me? And the Salvation Army staff do call, like, off to Seattle or someplace to verify. So it's not just money that's given willy-nilly. There is a process involved to ensure that we are helping these folks.
So it's not just buying bus tickets to get folks to some other communities to get them out of here.
No, it's really not. And we do, as part of the due diligence that we do as grants administrators, we get quarterly reports. And so we do learn, why are people leaving? And many times it's for, women who are leaving with children due to domestic violence situations. And again, for jobs, there's some that are going into the military. So we are assisting them also in moving forward in that capacity.
Great, thanks, Nancy. Item 6, questions?
Yeah, just with item 6 though. Okay, it says winter. I guess that's just the name of the program, because winter shelter rental assistance sounds funny.
I
That's
know.
just because they're already housed.
Yes, they are already housed. I actually, that's a typo. We're working diligently to remove the word shelter out of there, because that just really gets confusing. So it's in the winter months, and that's the other thing. I'm glad you raised that. This program is from November 1st through April, because again, that's we don't want people to be booted out of their homes if we can help them during the winter months. So that we're trying to tighten up the title in terms of it's winter and it's rental assistance.
Yep. Okay. Well, I move to approve items 6 and 7.
We'll second that. Thanks. Any further discussion or comment on items 6 and 7? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks,
Thank you.
Dan. All right, we are just blasting through this agenda. Shane Stack, sweeper lease, TMAC.
Good morning. We've covered the sweepers in recent weeks, but we had originally had a bid that we were originally looking at leasing 2 sweepers, and the prices came in really well, and we're going to lease 4 now, which means we had to update our agreement with MDT on this. So The original cost was estimated to be at $200,000. It's now $223,000 and change. The indirect cost rate lowered from 10.99% to 9.66. So that's lowers the cost for us a little bit. And then there's also some language related to insurance, and the county is essentially responsible for insuring these vehicles as we lease them. NDT is going to send you a DocuSign email. I told them we were meeting at 10, so they should be sending this to you this morning after we meet.
So in the RCA, it mentions 203,000. How does that relate to the did you say 223?
Yeah, the total cost is estimated at, I think, at 223,000. The CMAQ funding would be at 203,581. And so our cost at the county is just that difference.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. All right. Other questions? Juanita?
No, we get 2 additional sweepers for $23,000. Is that what is essentially happening?
Pretty much. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay. As opposed to 180. So yeah, I motion to approve the amendment to the sweeper lease agreement.
I'll second that. Further discussion or comment? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye. What do you think,
Aye.
Juanita? Oh, okay.
Yes,
Very good.
sorry.
A cliffhanger moment. Okay. All right. Get those sweepers headed this way. From street sweepers to other matters related to public works. Eric Dixon, Farm Lane Water Main Extension Project.
Yeah, so if I could, I might address the next 3 items.
Sure, please do.
All at once there. These are all related to projects with HDR. So we have a standing professional services agreement with HDR for work on water and sewer districts managed by the county. So with that agreement, as individual projects come up, they're addressed by task order. So with the availability of ARPA funding, we have 3 projects that have developed, one with the Lolo Water and Sewer District, another with Lewis and Clark, and a third with Sunset West out by Frenchtown. So the first one with the Water and Sewer District in Lolo, HDR had completed a preliminary engineering report last year that identified a water main extension on Farm Lane as an important piece for that system to provide redundancy for the system east of Highway 93, and it will also provide service to the soon-to-be coming Lolo Elementary School. So they will design that water main extension for, I lost the cost in there, an estimated cost of $95,000. The second project that they will be taking on is the Lewis and Clark Sewer District out in Clinton. That system contains a set of 5 septic tanks and 2 dosing tanks before the effluent is just discharged into the drain field. So the second dosing tank, which actually contains the dosing equipment and valves and treatment center, is in need of replacement. I think that's been discussed for a while. So again, using this ARPA funding, HDR can complete that design at a relatively low cost. And then the third project would be for the Sunset West Water District out here at, between the Y and Frenchtown. That well house has an underground vault, and for the past few years has been going underwater with the rising groundwater. It's a condition that seems to be changing. It wasn't like that in the past. DEQ recommended that we address that situation by elevating the pumping equipment above ground and diverting surface flow away from that area. So HDR will undertake that task of improving the water system for Sunset West.
Thanks, Eric. Items 9, 10, and 11. Any questions, Juanita?
No, glad this is moving forward. I motion to approve items 9, 10, and 11.
And
These will be done when, Eric? Like,
Well,
fall?
the design goes through April, and then we'll have to look at construction. I don't know if we'll make next construction season. I think it should be relatively easy though to meet that for these projects.
And it's not, yeah, they're all happening at once.
Yes.
They're being worked on simultaneously. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Any further discussion or public comment on items 9, 10, or 11? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And Eric, item number 12.
Yes. So you may recall that we purchased a parcel out here by the Y this June for the anticipated use as a gravel pit to ease our burden on the Miller Creek pit being our sole gravel source for the Missoula area. So we have received a couple quotes from consultants to develop that open cut mining permit. Highland Environmental out of Helena is well versed in this sort of work and provided the lowest fee estimate for the work. So we would recommend that the agreement be signed so that we can begin the process of developing a gravel pit.
Great. $5,000. Fantastic. Motion that the board approve the PSA with Highland Environmental.
I will second that. Any further discussion or comment? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye. Great.
All right.
Hard
Thank you.
to get anything for $5,000 these days.
Yeah.
Okay. That concludes our action items. We have a piece of correspondence here. Who is available to speak to this? And I'm sorry?
Hi, commissioners.
Oh.
Yeah, Andrew doesn't look like he's on. So commissioners, this actually is a piece of correspondence that, oh, Andrew is on. There he is. He's, although we can only see the bottom of his chin and he's muted.
Okay, it's a letter to Representative Rosendale.
Yes,
Andrew?
this is just, I'm sorry. Yeah, I put this together at the urging of NACO. I think on the 10th, the Senate passed Bill 3011, which expands the allowable uses of ARPA funds to include infrastructure improvements now, among other things. So it's broadened what was a very constrained funding to allow us to do other things. And it's at a maximum of $10 million or 30% of your allocation. In our case, it would be $10 million. They've listed all the numbers on the NACO website. So this letter did go to our representative last week. We don't know when they will be taking it up in the House, but we're hoping within the next week.
Okay, just a suggestion on these sorts of letters, and I was sort of out last week, which is probably why it is not available for signature here. I wonder, it always strikes me that it looks kind of tacky when we send out letters. I wonder if it would be better in some of these cases to simply have whoever is the acting chair at the time sign. So have one signature with an actual signature as opposed to
Not available.
with the stamp on there. Just for future reference, something to think about.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that and it didn't look good. You're right. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's how we've done business since probably Mr. Higgins was a city father here. So okay, thanks for that. Any questions on this piece of correspondence from anyone?
No, thanks for pulling it together, Andrew.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
thank you. Okay, last but not least, it looks like we have a discussion item related to a school speed zone out in the Clinton area. Is Shane, who's speaking to this one? Or Eric Dixon? Up, you're muted, Eric.
Okay, how's that?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, so I just wanted to give you a briefing before Thursday. So this is on the Thursday public meeting agenda just for an amendment to an existing school zone. And I'll see if I can share my screen here just to give you a heads up. But back in 2017, I believe it was, a few years ago anyway, we established the school zone at the Clinton Elementary School, designated by that red area in front of the school. It's pretty long because there is a widened shoulder that does allow a lot of bike and pedestrian access from Clinton to the school. This year, though, the Clinton School District purchased the former Clinton's Women's Club building, I think it is. And so that's right. Let me see if I can zoom. So right where the current school zone ends, they purchased this parcel and this building as kind of an annex for a pre-kindergarten service for the school district. So a lot of parents have a direct drop off, and the school buses also drop off right there. So they were concerned that the school zone ended right there and requested that we extend the school zone to the north so that traffic is slowed down before it hits that annexed building, or the annex building with the school district. So it'll make it a continuous school zone from there about by Gold Street, and gets all the way through the school zone. So we worked with since the school administration requested the change, we've obviously worked with them. We're going to satisfy the state law requirements, and we think it's a relatively easy ask. And so that will be the proposed resolution on Thursday afternoon.
And this is uncontroversial.
As far as I know, yes, I haven't, we've had the notice out for 3 weeks. The school district has been discussing it, I'm sure, with parents, so we have not heard any opposition.
No, fantastic.
Never underestimate what might be controversial at the 11th hour.
At the public hearing, yes, when they can get an audience.
Thanks for the reminder, Dave.
Thanks, Eric. We'll look forward to seeing this on Thursday. Anything else to come before us this morning? Okay, at 10:23, we will be adjourned. All right.
Well
Thanks,
done.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.